Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Dave Leopold. I am the sales director for LucidLink. I handle media and entertainment accounts, and I'm joined here today by Rich Warren, my colleague at LucidLink, and Duran Gleaves, the product manager for Adobe Audition, all things audio at Adobe. We're going to be talking today about how to not only change your remote workflows and really utilize the cloud, but how can we really dig into audio and capitalize on all that the cloud and remote workflows offer as far as collaboration as we look at somewhat an often overlooked area of production and post. There aren't as many considerations for audio workflows as we look at sort of how people are strategizing for future technologies and future workflows. So we really want to dig in and make sure that audio is central in how we're attacking how we work creatively. So I'd like to start by just giving a quick overview of what LucidLink is and how we work. Let me share my screen. So for anyone who's not familiar with LucidLink, our technology transforms object storage in the cloud into a local file system. Now, to creatives and former creatives like myself, in English, that basically means imagine you have a USB drive. It's a magical USB drive that's with you everywhere you go. It is scalable like the cloud. Put as much stuff on it as you want. It's shareable like a NAS. Many of you are used to working on shared storage. And it mounts like it is a local drive. So that means that it looks like you have just plugged in a USB drive, or it looks like your local hard drive. So if I go through a little bit more about it, we're really going to be focusing on this area today. What's great about LucidLink is everyone who's involved in your creative process can not just make use of files and access files from anywhere on the face of the earth that you have an internet connection, but you're also collaborating with the same files, the same projects, in a single source of truth that lives in the cloud. So everyone in your creative process can access the same files, but today we're really going to be focusing on the audio side. A couple things to go over. We are extremely easy to use. We work across platforms, Mac, Windows, and Linux. We're incredibly fast, and we'll get to that in a moment. We work with every single bit of creative software you can imagine. Again, today we're going to be focusing on Creative Cloud with Adobe, both Premiere Pro and also Audition. But we do work with every asset management system. Really, if your software can read a file on a local drive, it can read it from a LucidLink file space. And a file space is what we call our storage repositories. As I mentioned, we are infinitely scalable. You can put petabytes upon petabytes in your file space and access them no matter where you go because we are globally accessible. Again, anywhere that you have an internet connection, you can access your files. And we're both familiar and magical. We have some really interesting things going on under the hood that make for this really magical experience. We're doing something that no one else is doing, but we're doing it in a way that seems familiar. We're allowing you to work with the workflows that you're already used to. You don't need to develop new ways of working. We try to take those processes that are slowing you down and turn them from days to hours, hours to minutes, and minutes to seconds. So when you're talking about the old days of sync and share, sending things through Dropbox or through file transfers, there's no more downloads. There's no more replication. So you're at an opportunity where you can just start working immediately. Because really, there's nothing creative about spending time waiting for a download. And as we all know, creatives should spend their time being creative. And as soon as you take someone out of their zone, they're losing work and the project is losing quality. It's hard to get back into that creative space that your mind previously occupied. And we like to think that we're an invisible solution. Once you log into LucidLink, you're not thinking about the fact that your files are not local. You're not having to, again, construct a workflow around the way that you need to for a different solution. We adapt to the way that you work. So very briefly, I want to just tell you what's happening under the hood, and then we're going to see LucidLink in action. And that's really the fun part here. So the way that we work is we have a LucidLink client, which is a lightweight application installed on each individual workstation. There's an object store in the cloud, and we have a LucidLink service, which is a metadata coordination service. It's how we read and write the metadata. And the old ways of doing things with object storage is one file would equal one object. You'd put an entire object in the cloud, and it would be vulnerable to some security risks, and it would take a long time to download. We don't do it that way anymore. Now, if I want to upload a file to a LucidLink file space, all I do is click and drag because it looks like it is a locally mounted drive. So I click and drag to my file space, and my LucidLink client is going to take that file and break it down into tiny little blocks, which are then compressed, encrypted, and sent over parallel streams up to the cloud. So you're getting an accelerated upload. What really becomes interesting is on the other side, when I go to access it, if I want to play a file, I don't need to download that file. I don't need it to live locally on my system. In fact, it stays in the cloud. And all I do is I stream tiny blocks of data on demand to recreate the frames, the segments, the images that I'm trying to access. And I only request the blocks that are required to create what I need in any given moment. And those blocks are served in a just-in-time manner. So that's very quickly how we do it. We're not downloading full files. We're not replicating, so there's no version control. We're streaming tiny blocks of data. And what that means to anyone out there who's doing audio is that you're getting a completely new experience in a remote setting, and it really recreates the experience of working in a local or on-prem setting. So if anyone has ever had to deal with trying to use a virtual machine and all your peripherals don't really work, or you're unable to stream or access multiple channels at any given moment, those days are gone. You are working with your source files in their original form. So you are able to do live recording to your file space in the cloud, live mixing, you can share. It really becomes a real-time collaborative space. So I'm going to pause here and stop sharing my screen, and I will let Rich show what the LucidLink experience looks like from an administrative perspective, and we'll start on showing how people across the globe, or in this case, across the country, can work collaboratively. Rich?
All right. So I'm sharing my screen here. I got this Windows machine, and it's pretty simple. This is the learning curve of LucidLink. I've already downloaded and installed the LucidLink client. So I click on the LucidLink client here. I open it up. Now I'm going to log into what we call a file space. So think of a file space, kind of like that. I got a hard drive in a cloud, right? The cable to that hard drive is my internet connection. That's the way you got to start thinking now. We're not like doing the syncing thing, of data back and forth between the cloud. No, I'm using read and writing to the cloud just like a locally attached drive. Now I'm going to log into this file space here. This file space, how I refer to it is like this. This one's called team.workflow. Workflow is the domain of the file space, the LucidLink universe domain. So when you create your LucidLink account, you get to create a domain name, but it's not internet domain name, right? This is like LucidLink Universe domain. So workflow is the name of my domain for my LucidLink account. Team is the file space name. So in my account, whose domain is called workflow, I have this file space called team. Okay. I'm going to log in as the administrative user, whose name is always root. I'm going to log in as the administrative user to this file space. All right, so I connect. Now, like I said, this is pretty much the learning curve here for doing this. There we go. All right, so here's what I got. I got no drive. Okay. All right, so, it's a locally attached drive, and that literally is what it is, right? I go in here, I got a locally attached drive that's mounted as drive L. See that number? It says 1 petabyte. Now we had to give a number to the operator. We couldn't give a number to the operating system because we couldn't use an infinity sign. So we gave the number of 1 petabyte. But now rest be assured here, we have customers with over a petabyte of data in a file space and it still says a petabyte free, right? So effectively what I got going on, right, is I got a hard drive that's infinitely scalable in storage capacity. And it's attached as a local drive. The backend storage in this case, though, is IBM's data center location in San Jose, California. And I'm mounting as a local drive L. I just got to point out this Windows machine that I'm logged into is actually in Kassel, Germany. So think about this. Oh my goodness. I have a Windows machine here in Kassel, Germany, connected to a LucidLink file space whose backend storage is over 7,000 miles away. And the cable to that hard drive, that's over 7,000 miles away, is my internet connection. It's getting pretty freaking cool here. If I look at a File Explorer, you see in my L drive, I got 2 folders. I have an edit folder, got a bunch of stuff. I have a music folder, right? I got a bunch of stuff. I've got some stuff in there, right? All right. Now I'm logged in as the administrative user. Now I don't want to necessarily give everybody access to everything, right? So let's check out what I got going on, because I could restrict access to this file space. I'm going to come into the LucidLink control panel, because remember, I'm the administrative user. And I could come in here and you see I've created 3 users. I've created a user called Dave for Dave, right? And I created a user for Durham. And this is kind of weird. I'm referring to myself in the third person. I created a user for me, Rich, right? But I could restrict access. Now check this out. If I go to shares, right? Remember there's that edit folder? I gave Dave read-write access to the edit folder, right? And what I could do here is we have Duran now. Duran, notice I didn't even give him access to anything. He doesn't have any share here. Now my user login, I've given access, read and write access to the music folder. Dave's got access to 2 folders. And the 2 folders that he has access to, I gave him music and mixes. I didn't give him access to the whole music folder because remember, I had sessions in there and I had mixes. I just gave him access to the mixes folder in the music folder. So that's how I've divvied up the access. Now, we're going to give Duran access to this, but you're going to see this happen real time when we get over to Duran. But at this point right now, I'm going to throw back to Dave. And, well, Dave, you take it away. Let me stop sharing.
Here we go. There we go. It always helps to unmute. So I have here a Final Cut, or I'm sorry, a Premiere Pro project. It's titled Fine Cut 01. It comes from my rough cut, and it has some voiceover, some music. I have some travel shots, and I really want to just sort of showcase that no matter where you are in the world, you can access your files. And now with the magic of LucidLink, you can continue traveling and exploring and having adventures and still continue working because you can get to your files everywhere. So I'm cutting together this promo video. And again, on audio 1, I have some voiceover, temp voiceover, and on audio 3, I put in a music track. And what I want to point out is that everything that I'm using, whether it is the footage or the audio, that is all living in the cloud. I don't have anything that lives locally on my machine. So if I go through here, I can play down with 0 drop frames. It gives me a very smooth playback. But you know what? I have a producer who just stepped in and said, this music is very calm, but it's putting people to sleep. And he wants something a little more upbeat. And you know what? Because we just saved money by using LucidLink and saving time, we actually have a little bit more in the budget for some music. So at this point, the producer calls up his composer, hoping to score this, do an original score for it. And that composer happens to be Rich. So with this in mind, we ask Rich to record some music, and he's able to actually record it directly into LucidLink. So I will stop sharing this screen. There we go. And Rich, if you can pull up your session.
All right. So check it out. So what I got going on here now, I'm on a different machine, right? now I'm on my MacBook Pro. That's actually in front of me. I could actually touch it. Right? It's not a virtual machine, on another continent. But this machine, I could actually touch it. This is in front of me. I'm in northeastern Pennsylvania. So just think about this. So the file space we're using, right? So now I'm connecting to it, right, as a different user. And I've only given user Rich only access to the music folder, right? And I'm coming in northeastern Pennsylvania, connecting to the file space. Once again, remember, is actually an IBM data center. The backend storage is at an IBM data center in San Jose, California. So this is kind of neat. This is showing we have access global access to this file space. Now, all right. So if I open a folder, you see what I got here. I'm going to go into my sessions. I got this one here. So check it out. So I actually have the session and all the track files here. The session and that's all in the cloud. So I'm going to open this up. Well, this looks like Adobe Audition to me, right? Nothing different. Hit the play. Everything functions the same. We are nothing more than a locally attached drive. That's the key thing to remember. We're just a local hard drive. That's all we are in the end. What does that mean? Well, I ain't going to pass a session over. What am I going to do? I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say export. I'm going to export the entire session. Where am I going to put this? Of course, right? I am going to put it in the file space, and I have put it in a mixes folder. My mix for Durin. Wrote a song for Durin. That's what I'm going to put. I'm going to put it up in the cloud. So think about it. All the tracks are in a cloud. The session's in a cloud in the file space. And I'm going to export this directly to the cloud. But the cool thing about this is, you know, you get all these like other solutions. They say, you know, even though you spend all the money on this MacBook Pro, we got a solution for you. Let's remote into a virtual machine in the cloud. Why? I can do everything on this machine that I paid all this money for. So all my compute's right in front of me. Put the sessions in the cloud. My track files are in the cloud. And I'm going to export this back up to the cloud. And you can see my progress. Now you might say, all right, how the heck are you doing that? Well, you can see this ain't going to take too long. We're already at 20%. So here's what's happening, right? Behind the scenes, we're just a hard drive. That's all we are. But behind the scenes, chop everything up into tiny pieces. We compress it. We encrypt it. It goes to the LucidLink cache. We use this little cache area on a computer. And from there, we upload that data to the file space in the cloud. I'm uploading it to the file space that's back in storage is on the other side of this continent. It takes a little while. Why does it take a little while? Now, I've just exported this. But keep this in mind. I have a Comcast home internet connection. All right. The vast majority of LucidLink users around the globe use what we will colloquially refer to as a home internet connection. What does that mean? You don't really get what you pay for, right? And our upload speeds are like really small. Our upload bandwidth is small. I think I'm cut off at like 30 megabits a second on my up. I didn't even made it worse. I'm connected. Look, you can see it on my screen. I'm connected via Wi-Fi to my Comcast Xfinity router upstairs. So I even made it slower, my connection. And I was still able to play from the cloud and then mix down right back to the cloud. So if I go into, let's go into Finder. And if I go into my mixes, well, there it is. There's my mix. And I just open it up. If I, there it is, my mix for Durin. Now, the cool thing about this is, yeah, you remember in the old days, Durin, how do I get this to you? Right? The question, how do I get this to you? Right? You know, you had these like, in the ancient times of cloud storage, was used like Dropbox or FedEx you a hard drive or something. No, we're all connecting to the same drive up in the cloud. All right, now I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Great. And I'm going to share my screen one more time. And you see that in my mixes folder, I see this My Mix for Durin WAV file. I can drag that right into Premiere. I'm just going to swap it right out. I don't have time for a mix on my end just because I'm so busy. So because we have such an expert audio mixer here, I'm just going to put it on the track and stop sharing my screen. And I give Durin a call or I email him and I say, hey, this is ready to go. Let's get this mix started.
And I pick up and I say, all right, let's do that. So I will share my screen now. This is the best part of these webinars, is everybody sharing their screens, right? And I will point out, having seen it now from Rich twice, my location is clear across the other side of the country on the West Coast in Seaside, Oregon. You can see maybe I'm about a half hour from Astoria, where was home. Here while we're working on this. But
Duran froze on us.
Oh, yeah.
did I
There we go.
freeze?
Yes.
Just for a moment.
I hear you guys. Okay. Maybe it was kickstarting the screen share. Well, I'll back up. I'm not sure how much you lost, but it wasn't probably that important. I did want to point out here that I am on a very poor connection. There's not great Wi-Fi in this town, so we're really going to put LucidLink to the test here. So I have the icon from LucidLink, but I can also just open up Finder, and there's that folder mounted. And right now, I don't have access to it. So Dave, if you want me to edit something, you're going to need to give me access to that.
Sure, and I will request Rich as the administrator, if you can add some shares for Duran, and let us know when you're.
Well, look at that. Immediately one shows up. There's the edit. So I'm going to go ahead and just double click on this LucidLink project, and it's going to open the project here. And it says, I can't find one file. That's because it's, because I was granted full access to music and not just the mixes folder inside. So I'm just gonna locate that file real quick. Music, mixes, there it is. Click OK. And the dramatic spinning beach ball as things load. And there we go. So as the content starts to come through and cache itself, we'll see these things pop up here. But there was two things. So we had two options. One was to mix and master this this final piece of music, and I might be able to do that in Premiere. But I can also bring this into Audition and do it on Audition, which is maybe more focused and more suitable for making some mastering and mixing decisions to music. So there's a few ways I can do that. One, I could right-click on this clip and say Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. I could also open the Premiere Project file inside Audition and select this sequence, and then I'll have the full multi-track, and I could make some changes there. But all I'm really focused on is the music itself. So I'm going to bring, and you can see based on this, it looks like the song may be a little longer than the project. So there's some things we can do to remedy that later. But right now, I'm just going to choose Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. And what this is going to do is replace. It's going to make a copy of that WAV file that Rich exported up to LucidLink, so that I'm not overwriting any of the originals. You know, I don't have to go back through LucidLink history to find some item from the past. I'm just going to work on a copy so that we can always fall back if I do something really crazy. If we come back and Dave's like, no, that's not what I wanted at all. But we should bring it up here, and there is that track in Audition. So I'm going to take a quick listen. And this may not come over the AirPods that well, but I get it. And so I can see it both in the waveform there, but I can bring up the spectral view. I can zoom in, take a look at the frequency spectrum. I can see that this is a 96K recording. I think our video project was 48K. So when I send this back, I'll probably send it back as a 48K file, just for ultimate compatibility with whatever the future downstream for the video project is. But a few things I can notice here. I'm going to take off some of this trailing silence at the end. We certainly don't need that. And you can see there's a lot of very rhythmic elements. So I'm just going to run it through a couple of simple effects for the purposes of this demonstration. First, I'm going to run it through a compressor. So I really like our dynamics processing compressor. I'm going to choose, this is pretty mellow, so I'm not going to use anything like thunder drums, but maybe stereo rock mix. Let's take a listen. And I'm not really kicking in the compressor there at all, so I'll bring this down a little bit. In fact, since this is music, I may actually want to change and use our multi-band compressor. This is going to give me more control over everything, so different instrument ranges and things like that. So, and I'll point out again, I'm just pulled this right off of LucidLink. I didn't do any downloads. I didn't have to go to a website, type in a password, wait for a browser download, uncompress a zip file. It's really just, I opened it up and count of 4, it's there. So I like this. This is pretty good. I'm gonna hit apply on this, and that's gonna give us a nice beefier mix there. And here's one thing I want to show really quick. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make this track a little bit bigger. In fact, let's just go and really show you what's about to happen. So here's the clip that as it was sent over originally. And now when I come back to Audition and I hit Command S to save my changes, I'm gonna come back to Premiere. Did that update? Did that update so quickly I didn't see it? I think it did. Let me undo that and try. There we go. Hit save, come back to Premiere, and you'll see it's that live link with that file. So as soon as it responds, this is a very slow system. And one more time, we'll just put that multi-band compressor back on, hit save, and come back to Premiere. And now we should have, if I hit play, come on. I will point out that my MacBook is a little old in the tooth right now, so it's taking its time. There we go. And there's the change. There's the mix. I'm listening to it. Sounds pretty good. There's one more change I kind of want to make while we're here. If you notice, there's 2 beats at the beginning, like a count in. We want this video is pretty short. It's only 32 seconds. So I'm going to trim that back. And because it's extra long, I'm going to do a little bit more to this file. I'm going to go ahead and use a feature we call Remix. I'm going to use the essential, actually I'm going to use the tool over here. Grab the Remix tool, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to drag this song down to about the same length as the project here. Auditions or Premiere is going to begin to render that and analyze it. You can see up there. And it's going to come up with a version of this song. It's going to rearrange this song. So it's only about 30, 32 seconds or so. If I zoom up here, you can see these little zigzag lines kind of represent where the Remix tool, which is an Adobe Sensei machine learning feature, where it's made a decision to cut and crossfade. And if I listen to it now, every time the playhead passes, let me listen to these edits here. I can tell my Wi-Fi here is really struggling with the what I'm streaming here. So I'm just going to show it off like this. I'm going to hit in this project Command S, save that project back to folder, and I'm going to close the project out. And Dave, whoops, let's get my menu. I can go ahead and stop sharing. Dave, you should be able to open that project right now.
Yes. So now
as long as you're running,
I have the project, and it has the do I need to update? So I will even just close out of the project and open it back up. But I see that we've had a lot of fun doing this, and we're going a little long on time, and I want to make sure that we're able to address questions. But yeah, so the project now opens perfectly on my side, and I can keep working. I can do tweaks, and really, not only does this enable everyone, no matter what their discipline, including audio, visual effects, color, everyone can get in on the same files and work on the same project collaboratively. But what this really allows us to do, which I hope you saw today, is that it allows us to collaborate in real time. So Rich gave the new music file. Duran immediately started doing any sort of mixing that I needed to do to make the sequence complete. But while Durin was doing mixing, I can still go back and continue doing tweaks. I can change up B-roll. I can move edits around. And you know what? With really cool tools like Remix as well, I can even change the duration and go back and just readjust by dragging a new duration to that music file, and it'll maintain the mix that Durin did, but will also recut itself automatically through Sensei to align itself to the proper duration. So with that, I will we can take any questions. The one other thing that I do want to share with you is on the LucidLink website. Let me again, Durin, you said it right. The ability to share everything and constantly sharing your screen is not my favorite part of demos, but right here on our LucidLink website, every page that you go to on lucidlink.com, you will see this button for a free trial. And when you click here, it's a completely free 14-day free trial, no credit card needed. Sign up for an account. We give you the keys to the car. You get to try out LucidLink. It's the full version. Invite people from your team, other collaborators that you might have. Really kick the tires and see if this will work for your workflows. But we're always excited to hear what your feedback is. And I see that we have one question from Salvador. Is that just for Adobe Audition and Premiere, or can LucidLink work with other DAWs like Pro Tools? Yes, we work with all software, creative software and other. Really, what it comes down to is if your computer can, or if your software can read a file from a locally mounted drive, because we look like we are a locally mounted drive, that software can read the file from LucidLink. And again, you're not streaming pixels, you're not streaming audio bits, you are streaming blocks of the data of the original file. So you are interacting with your originals in every part of this process. Any other questions? Great. And I see that we've put up the lucidlink.com/trial. That is the link to get to our trial. But I also do want to mention we are going to be at NAB this year. Look for us, come by, talk to us, talk to Adobe. We work together all the time, and we're happy to answer questions. Can you speak a little bit about backing up files that are work in process projects? So, Rich, this is about, I think the best way to put this is snapshots, if you want to.
Sure. We actually do a thing called, we have immutable snapshots. There's no copying of data. When a snapshot is taken, it's literally boom, that's it. And they're immutable. So typically what I like to do, we'll give you 300 snapshots that you can have active at any time, right? One of the things I like to do is I like to take a snapshot every 15 minutes at the top of the hour, quarter past, half past, quarter of, and keep 96 of them around. What that means is I could go back to any 15-minute point in time over the past 24 hours. I'll also take hourlies, set a retention level. I'll take dailies, set a retention level, weeklies, monthlies, quarterlies, and yearlies. And within that allowable 300 snapshots that I can have active at any time, that's a lot of recovery points, to where even the most clumsy of us can easily recover files or folders.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Well, Thank you for the banner at the bottom. If you would like more information, if you want to see a demo, please go to info@lucidlink.com and you can set that up. But I really appreciate you all joining us today. Happy to answer any other questions. Feel free to reach out if you would, again, like a demo, if you have questions, if you want to do the trial, or if you just want to talk about how LucidLink might be able to fit into your workflows. But we definitely appreciate your time. We're hoping that you like what you saw. I know, speaking for myself, I'm a huge fan of this technology, and just it's changing the way that creatives are working. And there's really nothing else that I can say other than the fact that we're able to streamline that creative process. We're going to have the opportunity to collaborate in new ways and really get our creative output to a new level of quality. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Durin. We really appreciate having you on. We always love working with you. And thank you, Rich, for taking us through that. And that's it. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you have a great rest of your day.